Black Ops 6 just had a huge update that completely changed the game, so I have for you the new best settings as well as a couple crucial tips that will 100% make you a better player. With the first settings being on the account and network, so if your game does crash a lot, definitely turn off the gore effects. Even if your game doesn't crash, I still recommend to turn that off. That causes a lot of people's game to crash. Now, next up is going to be the interface. A lot of people skip through this, but they don't really realize how important this is. So the first thing is you're going to want to go over to the HUD presets. You got to tab over completely, and then you want to tab over, well, you want to keep this on standard. Then you want to tab over to visuals. Now on the visuals, make your minimap square. We all know that. You want the minimap rotation on, radar off. You want to make the minimap a little bit bigger. I get a lot of comments of people saying, how is your minimap so big? That's because I upped the scale. A lot of people will up it to 150, but I like 120 complete. It's all personal preference. Find the one that you want. For the opacity, I like to have it around 90. Now for the colors, we're just gonna basically keep everything the same, although I did make it so my teammates are now green and the people in my party are going to be blue. Color filter 2 and then color filter target both. World color intensity 100 for both of those. And then you want to go back over to the interface and you want to tab down to the crosshair. Make sure this is on static. This is so important that you actually have these 4 lines right here. That makes it so you can hit fire way more accurately. And then when you do click on the static, you're going to want to do show more, center dot, well, crosshair dot on, center dot scale. If you're on a really big TV, then I would do largest, but overall most of you guys should do fine with the larger. If you have insane eyes like those owl eyes, then you could do the default. Crosshair spread on, crosshair opacity 100. I like to change the crosshair color to like cyan. I think that's how you say it. This is completely personal preference. For me, I just really like the blue. Now next up, for the audio settings, these are going to be more so if you have like a gaming headset. Right now I'm using the Kiwi Ears IEMs. I don't really know the variant, but they're like 250, and I really do like them, and they just make it so I can, you know, hear very well without getting like headset hair. Now we are going to be going over to the enhanced headphone mode. You want this on, and then the enhanced headphone mode configuration. If you do buy this, it is a lot better. It's pretty scummy that you have to buy it, but if you're trying to be the best, I definitely recommend to buy it. But you don't need to do like the customized profile. That's not going to really benefit you whatsoever. Now the audio mix, I like to have Sucker Punch. It sounds really good. I get a lot of comments of people just like asking why my game sounds so good. That's because of the Sucker Punch. Now for the configure frequency intensity, again, this is going to be more so if you have a gaming headset. This is what I found was the best for me. We are basically going to be maxing out the 250 and the 500. For the 1K, have it at 10. For the 2K, 5, 4K, -5, 6K, -5, 8K, -5, 10K, -5, and you want to do the same for the right channel. That's going to basically make all the footsteps a lot louder and then everything else a little bit quieter. There has been a huge outrage of players complaining about skill-based damage because of clips like this, but really it's just bad servers leading to major desync, which is a huge problem. But today I have a solution: No Lag VPN. No Lag VPN has been widely used since Warzone 1, and I actually kickstarted my channel with it because it gave me a way smoother connection as well as easier lobbies, so it was a lot easier to actually get consistent gameplays. No Lag VPN gives you a better connection by optimizing your network specifically for gaming traffic and routing data through servers that are closest to you, which also helps reduce SPMM since you'll be matching up whoever is closest to you rather than whoever has the same skill as you. You'll also experience faster queue times, and so will your friends if they're in your party. You'll even be protected from shadow bans, which we all know is a huge problem going on right now. Plus your data will be protected from all the rage hackers in game, so you don't have to worry about being booted offline or someone stealing your information. So if you want a lag-free experience, protected data, and easier lobbies, I definitely recommend checking out No Lag VPN today. And if you use my link, you'll get a whopping 62% off, so definitely take advantage of it. For the next set of settings, this is going to be if you're on controller, but if you're on keyboard and mouse, I still recommend to watch this just so you can see how overpowered controller players are. Now, the sensitivities are now going to be at like, you know, a scale of 1 to 4 instead of it being like 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, how it was in the previous Call of Duties. You're going to want to look at this chart right here. You're going to be able to find where your old sense is now and, you know, just a general gauge of where you want to be. For me, I really like to have 1.42. This is a pretty slow sense, but the second I swapped to this sense, I was not missing a shot. I started ranking up in rank play. I started dogging on everybody. Like, I was mind blown how good I was on a lower sense when I'm typically a higher sense player. If you do want to make it so so you can go into the decimals. If you're on console, I believe you have to plug in a mouse. I'm on PC, so I can just type in the value, but if I try to use the bar, it's not going to go up by like the 0.0 decimal or the 100th place. I think I dropped out of school because of mouse. So just you have to use a mouse and then a keyboard if you do want to be able to, you know, make that super accurate. And then for everything else, I do have all this off. Bumper ping, you can be a little scummy and turn on the pings if you want. I don't want to do that. And then you could swap the bumpers with the triggers, making it so you're clicking a button rather than pulling down a trigger. But I do use an Xbox Elite V2 controller. This basically has trigger locks and buttons on the back, just allowing me to do a lot of the advanced movements without really having to adjust my settings too much. But if you don't have a fancy controller, you could just swap your button layout preset over to bumper jumper tactical. That's going to allow you to jump with that top left bumper, and then you can drop shot by clicking down that right stick. This makes it so a slide canceling and just jump shot and do whatever is a lot easier. Or you can play claw where you use your pointer finger on the buttons. For me though, I just prefer the paddles. Now make sure the controller vibrations off. At first it's going to feel very weird. A lot of people like vibrations, but it makes sense. Less things shaking in your hand should lead to better aim, and it does. For the dead zone inputs, again, people skip over this all the time. Left stick min at 0. This is going to make it so it's very responsive. My guy does walk forward by himself sometimes, but I just like how responsive the game is. And then for the left stick max, I'm not picking my nose, very itchy nose. Left stick max, this is going to make it so the second I move my stick to 70%, it's going to be at 100% movement speed. If I lower it down to 40, all I have to do is move the stick from the center to 40% to get to 100% max movement speed. Although right there, it might not be too responsive. And so for me, I really like 70, but I see majority of good players keep it between like 40 and 75. I don't really see any good players keep it at 100. Right stick min, mine's at 3, although I did drop my controller a few times, so I'm going to up it to 5 since I was getting like crazy stick drift in my aim. And even though I should probably increase it a little bit more, I'm still going to keep it at 5. If it's anything past 5, I feel like the game isn't as responsive. I can't do those micro adjustments, and so even though you have a lot of stick drifts, I still recommend to keep it at 5. Right stick max 99, and then left trigger, right trigger at 0. This can make it so second you hit that trigger, it's going to respawn onto the game. And so at that point, I guess you don't need to swap the bumpers with the triggers. All that's personal preference though. Now for the aiming settings, this is going to be a very important part of this video. Again, itchy noses, I promise I don't do cocaine. The sensitivity multiplier, I like to have mine at 0.85. This just makes it so when I do ADS, my ADS is going to be 85% of that 1.42 cents that we set up earlier, which is too slow for a lot of people. But I see a lot of really good players with like 0.8 or even 0.75. Really is personal preference. I'll show you how to find that sense after I show you all the settings. Say you do change it, make sure you change them all. I swear there's like some crazy input lag if they're not all the same thing. A lot of people don't know that. For the target aim assist, obviously you want that on. We are going to go into the aiming advanced settings, but just so you guys can copy everything else on there. And for the aiming advanced settings, for the ADS sensitivity transition timing, I like to have gradual. A lot of good players have it on instant. This basically means as I ADS, it's going to slowly get down to 0.85. Some people would say that's not like consistent. You're not going to be able to get very consistent with your settings, but there's a reason why a lot of pro players like it. And there's a reason I was shooting so much straighter, no gauge shots when I had the gradual. It was insanely easier to hit my shots when I did the gradual. So definitely try that out and see which one you like the most. Aim response curve type, dynamic is huge. This makes it so if there's like 2 targets, you can basically swap from one target to the other target with ease. You're going to have a lot more aim assist compared to the other ones. Some people like standard or linear, but like you literally have less aim assist, so I don't know why you would use that. Havoc, the #1 player in the world just behind me, he likes to have 0.92. I like 1.0. I don't mess with that too much. If I start messing with that, I'm going to start going in like a circle with my settings. I'm going to be thinking about it too much. And that's one thing you guys don't really want to get into. Like you can really get good with any settings. You just find one that you're consistent with. Like I know for a fact there's somewhere in here better settings for me, but I'm good enough with these ones and I don't want to like, you know, mess with my brain too much. For the sprint assist, you want this on tactical sprint assist. It's going to make it so the second you hit that left stick or you move forward, your guy's going to start to tack sprint, which can get you killed because if you're tack sprinting and then you go to fire your gun, you're going to fire that gun 110 milliseconds slower than if you were just like sprinting. But a lot of the time you're sliding into a gunfight, so this really doesn't affect you whatsoever. Mantle assist off, you want all the types of mantle off and you want that mantle assist angle tight. We all like it tight. That sounds kind of crazy. Slide/dive behavior hybrid. This is going to make it so there's no input delay if you do dive or if you do slide. And any of the other ones will give you a little bit of a delay besides like slide only or dive only, but then you're very limited. Sprint restore on as well as the slide maintain sprint on. If this video is helpful, a like is appreciated. If you want to get better, definitely hit the sub button. Mantle cancels reload off. Movement advanced settings, you guys can copy all of this. This one you need to have on single tap run. This is gonna remove any delays. There's a lot of delays in this game, and they kind of added the delays to make it so the Omni isn't too overpowered. It's gonna remove some of those delays, and then you guys can copy the rest of these. A lot of this stuff doesn't really matter too much for the combat advanced settings. I do like prioritize interact. A lot of good players will use like tap to interact, or no, prioritize reload. The reason I like prioritize interact is that it makes it so, say I'm in a gunfight, I run out of ammo, or I'm very low on ammo and I need to chow the guy. If there's a gun below me, I can just pick that up by just clicking the button very quickly, and then I can reach out that gunfight, and it just comes in clutch so often. If you're playing Warzone, you can loot a whole lot faster, and then it just makes it so you have to hold the reload, which I'm totally fine with, because like if I'm gonna reload, I'm already in a safe space. But you might not like that prioritize interact, so it's completely up to you, and it might be very weird at first, but I recommend you guys to get used to prioritize interact. I think it's personally a lot better. You guys can copy these things on here. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the controller settings. Oh, and now for the graphics, might as well, I'll just flash through all these. I am on PC, so if you're on console, it is going to look a little bit different, but just, you know, stay with me and you can copy a couple of these things on here. There's one thing that we actually have to go over that I almost forgot to go over. One thing is going to be the balance, the fidelity. Why did they add so many more things? Basically, on the fidelity, you just want to max out the fidelity cast strength. I would keep it between like 50 or 100. That's up to you, but most players do like to have it at 100. For the VRAM scale, I have a dual PC, so I just play with 90 on there. And texture resolution, again, for my stream, I like to make it so it looks pretty good. Although I think most of you guys should do normal. Low and very low makes it a little bit hard to see the enemies. Texture, filter, and extropic. Supposedly, this only brings down the frames by like 1 or 2. And so I just recommend to have ultra. Depth of field off. Detail quality low. Particle resolution very low. Bullet impacts off if you want to maximize FPS. But when I'm testing out recoil patterns, I like that on. Persistent effects off. Shader quality low. On-demand texture streaming minimal. I think I said that wrong. Local texture streaming quality low. And then screen space shadows if you want your cameras to look good, high. And same with these screen space reflections. But for the occlusion, screen space lighting off. Static reflection quality low. Tessellation off. Volumetric quality low. Deferred physics quality off. Weather grid volumes quality off. Water quality off. I feel like I'm reading the dictionary. View. The field of view is going to really play a big factor in your aim. So many people are like, CBS, I'm missing shots. Why do I suck ass at ranked? Why am I booty at the game? And then I ask them what their FOV is, and they're like 120. Like, that's literally the reason why. Everything is so much tinier, making it so it's a lot harder to hit your shots. Like, you're shooting at smaller targets. Yes, you can see more of your screen, and it looks like you're moving faster, but everything you're shooting at is way tinier. And so when I'm playing ranked, playing like iridescent lobbies, it is very difficult to do good if I have anything past like 103. Although in public matches, I do enjoy having 115, and in Warzone, I do like to max it out to like 115 or 120 because the map is bigger, and on there it's actually helpful to have a bigger FOV. But on multiplayer, if you're trying to do the best, do 103. ADS field of view affected. Weapon field of view wide. You can see a little bit more of your screen without making the target smaller. Third person field of view 90. Vehicle field of view default. Motion blurs off. I'm right about the burp. I got some crazy Jeb congestion. And then that should wrap it up for all of these settings. Now let's get into the very crucial in-game settings, like a good warm-up drill that you guys should always go over. I did explain some of this stuff in my last video, but I will be going over a couple new things. So again, stay tuned for that. Now you're going to want to go over to your private match, and you can play on whichever map you want. If you are playing rank play, I do recommend you guys to load up on like any of the rank play maps. Just play solo in there with no bots. Run around the map, try to like explore every single part of the map, learn all these headies, try to get some timings, and just really understand the map. Say you're just trying to improve your aim, then I do recommend you guys to just play on like a small map like Nuketown. That's what I typically do before every single session. I'll go on free-for-all. We're gonna max out that time and the score, and then we're gonna add a bunch of bots, and I will see you guys in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do have any settings, or if you have any like warm-up drills that I should go over that you think would be helpful for some other people, let me know in the comments, since everyone has kind of different drills. For me on here, the first thing I do is just go around and get about 100 to 300 kills a day. My cat's turning off everything. Okay, we got a nice little dungeon vibe now. So when I'm moving around this map, I'm just trying to warm up my center, and see that center dot. I'm basically trying to line that up where an enemy could be, and then I'm just ADSing and firing. I'm not really dragging over. I'm just practicing. Well, right there, I just did that, but I'm practicing my centering, because that is going to make it so you get that first shot. Therefore, you are going to win the gunfight. A lot of the time when you lose the gunfight, it's just because you had bad centering, or the enemy had better centering. And more so goes in rank play, when a lot of people are just very good and they're constantly centering. And someone asked me if they should be focusing on this in game. I never focus on this in the game. It's just like a subconscious thing. Same with my aim. A lot of the time with your aim, like people are thinking about their aim when they really shouldn't be thinking about the aim. It should just be like a flow state type thing. You want to just be focusing on where the enemy is, where the next enemy is. You don't want to focus on the aim. That's going to make you miss some shots. It's the same thing if you think about the way you're speaking, or if you think you're awkward in a conversation. If you think about those things, you're going to start to speak weird. You're going to start to think awkward. Like, I got a speech impediment. If I start thinking about that when I'm in public, I'm going to start to stutter in public. And so that same thing goes with like gaming in here. And that's why the flow state's called the flow state. It means you're not thinking about anything. You're just doing. So if you do want a perfect center, and you basically have to have very good passive aim, you're just moving around the map and putting the center dot where an enemy could be. I'm not focusing on it. I'm just trying to like subconsciously put this dot where an enemy could be. And so when we're aiming like this, we are aiming. When we're moving around like this, we are passive aiming. So you need to have very good passive aim, and a good way to get that passive aim is to get into gunfights. You need reps with anything in life. You got to do something over and over and over. If you want to get over like social anxiety, you got to be in social areas to get over that. You have to identify what you need to work on. One way that you can do that is to go in like a theater mode, or you can just record your gameplay and look back. Like a lot of the professional players, they do a lot of VOD review, and like I never really did VOD review. I did it once in this game. Instantly I found a mistake, and then I applied that to my gameplay, and I did a lot better. So it really does help to like watch yourself back and be able to try to figure out, you know, what you're doing wrong. But to stay on topic of the centering, you want to move around the map, put this where an enemy could be. You want that good passive aim, and you can even do this with no bots on the map and just practice doing all of this. You could even, you know, practice your slides. And one thing about the slides is that having good movement does lead to better aim. They kind of play off each other. Like as I'm moving swiftly, it makes it so the dot is like, you know, consistently where an enemy could be. I see a lot of enemies, a lot of players like moving like this, and they have their aim down. Nah, you do not want to do that. You do not want to do that. You want to be able to keep your aim, keep that center dot where an enemy, you know, on their chest. So all you have to do is ADS and fire. Some people do like to aim like that, but I think that's a little bit weird, a little bit personal preference in there. But you want to have that swift movement, which I do have a movement guide. So if you want an in-depth guide, definitely check out this video. Now, just a couple basic things, just the slide cancel. So you slide and stand, and then the long slides where you just jump and then you hit the slide button in the air. And so you'll see me doing this a lot around the map, and this keeps my centering in like a very swift area. And so then I can just kind of time when I do shoot the enemy. And if you're having good movement, it's harder for the enemy to hit you. So then, you know, your screen is shaking less, which is why first shot is so important. And having that good centering is that when you do shoot the enemy, their screen is shaking like crazy, making it easier for you to land the rest of your shots. And that's why if you don't get the first shot, you're probably going to lose that gunfight. Now, once you're on the target, I don't really use my right stick anymore. I'm only using the left stick. This left stick basically is what tracks the enemy, and it activates rotational aim assist. There's two different types of aim assist. You have your regular, and then you have rotational. Your regular is the aim assist that you get when you're just not moving. You know, you have the right stick right there, which is not really that much. They reduced it a lot in this game, but the rotational is what stays on the target like that. Like it basically plays the game for you, and that's why controller is so OP over keyboard and mouse. The controller has inhumane reflexes, and so if you're on controller and you say that keyboard and mouse is easier, you're wrong. You're literally wrong. I'm so sorry to break it to you, but you're completely wrong. Keyboard and mouse is at the complete disadvantage in any game with aim assist, basically. And Call of Duty has a lot of aim assist, and so that's why if you strafe in your gunfight, you're going to be locking on to players way more, and when you slide and things like that. And so since people don't really use that left stick too much, they get like the window wiper aim where they're like this, and that's kind of how you die. But if you strafe in the gunfight, you're going to be able to lock onto targets. And I literally track with that left stick, and then I just use the right stick to make like micro adjustments. So again, use that right stick and some movement to be able to line up your shot, and then once you're on target, you use the left stick to then strafe. And plus it makes you a harder target to hit, so then there's a higher chance that the enemy's going to miss some shots. And some people are like, do you strafe in circles? Do you strafe side to side? Do you only strafe one way a little bit? Basically, you just got to feel it out, and it's just whatever you want to do in there. There's not like a single best way to strafe in the gunfight. What I also like to do that is very, very helpful is actually turn off my aim assist. You guys probably already know why. So if you could hit your shots without aim assist, imagine what you can do with aim assist. It's very difficult to find where it's at. Okay, right there. So if we turn off aim assist, you're going to see my true aim. And it's not too bad just because I'm using that left stick so much that prevents me from getting the window wiper aim. But if you can hit your shots with no aim assist, then you are going to be doing very good with aim assist. And so I recommend you guys to get like 100 kills without aim assist and then 100 kills with aim assist, and do that before every session, and you'll become a way better player. And people always are saying that their aim assist doesn't work at all. When you turn off aim assist, you'll definitely see that your aim assist was indeed working. You just weren't using it correctly, and you probably just need more reps in the game. And this is a great way to get reps. You're just getting into gunfights rather than getting into like 30 to 50 in ranked play or in pubs. You are going to be getting into a couple hundred or until you want to stop, therefore speeding up your aim. Also, when you are shooting these bots, try not to miss at all. Even though it takes a little bit longer, just line up that shot and just get in a habit of not really missing and getting down that field like that TTK and just not really missing at all. You can do this with the aim assist, and you can turn it off and just be a little bit more precise. Like right there, I was a little bit too fast, but slowly start to pick it up. You just basically want to get in a habit of not missing any shots, because a very good COD player will never really miss any bullets. And that's why a Cronus won't really affect a good player, just because everyone in the lobby shouldn't already be missing. And if someone has to use a Cronus to get to that rank, then there's some other issues. Like, I'm not going to fear their game sense or things like that whatsoever. And then for the last thing that I want to show you guys, I don't really do this, but I know a lot of people do like it. You can use your right stick to try to basically center perfectly back and forth. Just get very good and very comfortable with the sticks. This is all basically for reps. And so if I try to go right there to there, you can start slow and then slowly pick it up, and you want to be able to be very consistent with that. And that's just going to give you more control. If you do drive a car, when you first were learning, you're like 2 hands on the wheel, and then now you can probably like text, drink, drive with the pinky. Don't do that. I'm just saying that like it's a lot easier now that you have reps. And that's the same thing with video games, and just you really have to sit in a private match and just do this over and over, and your skill or your aim will just get so much better. Watch some good players who are better than you. Say you forget to do a lot of things in game, or like say you isolate something you want to get better. I want to get better at my, let's just keep it basic, centering. Then I'm gonna write a sticky note on my phone, and I'm gonna write down center or center exclamation point, so then I constantly see it when I look down. I was saying before, you don't really want to focus on it too much, but you got to find like a balance of like remembering that, so you can like actually get better at it, and then you don't want to think about it too much in the gunfight. Like if I'm thinking about how my recoil is, how my shots are, I'm probably gonna miss. But if I'm like, I need to get better aim, then I'm gonna hop into a game of like this, and I'm just gonna play to get better aim. And you know, I think we're gonna wrap up right there. Sorry for all the yaps. I just try to, you know, make you guys a lot better. And so if you did find this video helpful, leave a like down below. Subscription is appreciated, and appreciated for yourself. And if there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments and try to teach some people. Let's make this a very informative video. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope it helped, and doses.